We were the overflow from Dublin. And we came on and we'd no shops, no schools, you name it. But I tell you what, we did have a community spirit. We'd wall-to-wall kids, very little money, and we needed each other.
So we were in 7-story flats, and the kind of best memories I have of those was just so there was kind of a green area in front of us and a little bit of a playground, and like every single weekend, without fail, we'd have like 50 kids from all over the blocks, and we'd play like games of football or bulldog, and it was just kids from everywhere around Ballymun mixing, and there was no trouble or anything. It was just kids having fun playing together.
Oh, one of the other big memories of being out in the field was you never wanted to walk back up the steps. You never used the lifts. The lifts always broke down. And you never wanted to walk back up the steps. So kids used to just stand on the bottom of the flats and be like, "Ma, ma, ma," and you'd call until every other mum would look out the window until your mum came, and then you'd be like, "Can I have money from the shop?" And they put like 20 pence into a little plastic bag and drop it down, and then you had to go and look and kind of find the plastic bag in the grass. But that would be everybody. Like, it was a constant chorus of "Ma, ma." My mum used to say it was like living on a farm.
I lived in a flat or in a tower. My ma was pregnant my ma broke her water actually on the 8th floor of a flat, ran down with 2 kids in a buggy, went up to the 10th floor of the town I was born in, got me dad, went down, got the bus into town, and then this emerged.
And just where Trinity School now is, that was Boland's farm, and we used to get over the wall there and we'd play in the hay sheds. They would have the haystacks all done out with left rooms inside them for aeration, I suppose, and we used to get into those rooms and play, and we'd slide down the haystacks, and we were never caught. I suppose the whole thing could have collapsed on us, but it was before the days of health and safety, so.
It was a great, absolutely brilliant community from Shangan down that way, and Coultry is down there, and over there is Salog. And then we're all Poppintree, and that includes Balclare. And we just had a great community. And the older people, I don't think I'm old, the senior people, they had really started everything.
But you see, we were kind of all in the one boat. Anyway, we started our ladies' clubs and all the clubs. We started all the things that you need. You know, when you look, I don't know if you do, but the old cowboy pictures when they they circle the wagons, yes, and all that, that's kind of like what it was. But we all needed the same thing.
Yes.
And we all got together, and it was brilliant back then.
I always found the people really nice. If you took the 36 bus, it was the one bus where men would get up to give you their seat, and if you were pregnant, they always made sure you had somewhere to sit. They'd help you with your pram in and out of the bus, and you always got really interesting conversations going on. So I always really felt at home in the 36 buses if I was part of it all, you know. I just felt a warmth and a community, and there was great life.
And like, you know, the Ballymun shopping centre that just got knocked down, they said before that was built, they used to play football and all sorts of sports on that field.
Myself and my son, we built the model for Ballymun years ago, down in where the ESB offices head place there was there, and the model then ended up, it wasn't built like the way the model was. Mm-hmm. I mean, on the drawings, there was no hotel where the hotel is. It was down at the M50. So that was a change. Mm. And then there was only one hotel on the drawings anyway.
Good times, bad times, good times, but that comes with life, doesn't it?
In terms of the older community in Ballymun, the younger community look up to them and respect them, and there's projects that kind of happen where they both mix, and it's nice when they do mix. So I think there's still that respect from the younger generation to that older generation, which is nice.
Yeah, I actually heard during COVID that Ballymun didn't need much of the the sort of, you know, the way everywhere else needed, or a lot of communities needed a GAA call around to the old people and that I heard someone say recently, Ballymun didn't need that because the connections between the generations are so strong.
The grandparents of the family are the role models, the leaders. Everything has to go through them. Not has to go through them, but in your heart you know they're wise and they've went through a lot more than our generation. So their words are wise and you take their advice. So even though in your heart you have your decision made, you still go to your elders. And when we lose an elder, it's tragic to the community because they're the soul, they hold the families together, you know.
And what's your grandmother do?
She just loves, she has kind of to take care of him really, and she loves also with the plants as well. She has a back garden full of them.
Oh really? So she grows a lot?
Yeah, she loves them.
So do you think your mum learned how to grow from your grandmother?
She just took it off, I really bounced off her.
Yeah?
Yeah, I feel from being in primary school here that I could always see how involved families are and how involved grandparents are. Like I don't see the grandparents picking up the kids. Like I knew loads of my friends' grandparents, and I think I used to be like, wait, why is my family not this like full on? And I do feel like, you know, the different generations in Ballymun is very, very important.
Well, I was on the boat to England with my ma, and she just was like, come over here and I'll help you. And because I was just getting into it because I was trying to fry a pair of jeans and she was showing me how to do it, so I wanted to try it and she wanted, so that's just how I got into it.
I have to say, I hold my hands up and respect the older people that are still alive. Some of them are still alive for the way they got stuck in. But you did get stuck in. I got stuck in. Everyone just got stuck in. But I've such respect for those older people that brought this place to what it still is a little bit.
Like to think that the wisest, most knowledgeable, most experienced people are then told, you retire or you resign or we'll put you in a home, is a sad indictment of the rest of us. We should be begging them for their knowledge. So they have so much to give us.
So Senator Lynn Ruan, who's from Tala, talks about resilience that we've had to build up. Not that we want it, but it is an aspect of us now that working class communities have built up a resilience. And like this is only wrong from a certain perspective, and from another perspective, this is absolutely amazing, and this is the way it should be.
When people see other people struggling in Ballymun, it's not a place where we're judging each other. It's a place like, I understand how you're kind of in that situation. That could have been me, you know. So I think when we see someone that's struggling, we do come together to try and help and bolster each other up as much as possible.
I don't know, I think they've felt downtrodden for a little bit, and that brings people together. I'm not sure, I often look at other areas, the likes of Fox Rock and these areas, and I wouldn't live there for all the money in the world because I actually think they're more deprived than Ballymun, because it's very, very hard to live with your head up your arse all the time.
Well, in spite of Ballymun probably having a very negative name and with antisocial behaviour and drugs, I think essentially the people are a great community and they're very close-knit, and the amount of people who are working like voluntary in the area is unbelievable, like, you know, and I believe that in all sections of society that majority of people are decent and committed to their community, you know.
We've always been lucky that we're tight. It's a small area. It's always been a lot of people, but everybody knew each other, and because it's so centralized, you get the opportunity to talk to people and people know each other. And as I said, people were united for so many reasons. I think when you've had adversity, and when you get pitted against the world a little bit, I don't think Ballymuners have pitted themselves against the world, but I do think there's been an element sometimes in the way that Ballymun and the people of Ballymun have been portrayed, which is inaccurate in my opinion, in the media. It sometimes makes it a bit of a them and us. And then when you feel like, well, them or us, you're all in it together, and you're proud of who you are.
Ballymun always has like this sort of negative, like, I don't really know the word, but everyone thinks of it as a negative place and stuff, but it has really good opportunities, and there's like, just the people in here are like really nice and stuff. Well, I think just if you look past that, it's a really cool place.
And maybe that's the thing more than anything. It's that disconnect between all the people driving through on a regular basis and a, you know, very vibrant, rich community that's in the process of developing and evolving.
So people really get up my nose when they knock people down in Ballymun, because as my mother told us when we were growing up, remember, children, it's not where you live your life, it's how you live it.
I love that we have a lot of facilities, and we have the Rediscovery Centre, and everybody just loves that because it's called the Ballymun Smoke, so it's just a part of everybody's life, so I think everybody loves that.
So another great facility in Ballymun that has never changed, only got better, is the swimming pool, which is a fabulous for older people.
Well, I think sport is very important for kids. And I think if they're like, it'll keep them out of mischief. And if they get involved in sport and any kind of leisure, like, would say sport, music, that would help them, you know.
Project Canela and from Tyrone, Porrico Harcon, they initiated hurling via the Irish schools as far as now. And they set up hurling back in the 70s. So they were the first ones that didn't to get that. And like, it's just an amazing thing that a club like that is 40 years old, that it has moved, that we've got a pitch here, we're in Senior 1 and Senior 2 hurling. And it's just an amazing achievement for Ballymun, and it wouldn't have a history of hurling.
There is a lot of art in the area, I think, because there's like murals on the side of shops and stuff, and I think that's really, really cool. But there's like never really too much art, so.
It took us about 4 years to get this place. We were looking here, there and everywhere, but nothing was happening. So we were delighted to get this. It's an ideal room in ways. So plenty of space, and it's handy for a lot of people.
Yes.
I got into making chess sets. We say there's the queen and the king, and it's a sort of a simplified version of it, because they take it. There's a castle. So, and we say this is made from maple, and this set. The other set is made from mahogany.
Is there anywhere else in Ballymun that you think it just gives so much to people?
The reco, it's a part of everybody's life, and they help everything. Even if you just need a talk, you just go up and have a talk with it.
So what is the reco?
It's a youth project, and people go in, they feed you, they help you out, they play, which is like just do everything.
I loved the Rediscovery Centre, which, you know, celebrates that where it came from, you know, as a sort of a boiler house for the flats, and now reinventing itself and reinventing the community and reinventing the material that they're working with. And I think that, yeah, that was certainly a centre I wasn't aware of before coming here, and I have to say it's brilliant.
I have said that I come out to Ballymun and I blossomed. And I really feel that, and I'll always feel that.
I always say to my children, I think Ballymun will be the place to live in the future. Sometimes they laugh at me, but I think it really will be the place, you know. And I'm hoping for that.
Why do you think that?
Because there's so much possibilities here, you know, and the community spirit was so great, and we do still have a lot of land around to develop, and I suppose because of the interest in the regeneration, you know, and the interest in the ecosystem, I just feel it will be, I don't know, maybe a blueprint for a way forward.
Well, I would start by saying we are nature. And I don't know what percentage of the population now live in cities. I think something like 80%, something crazy. And somehow we haven't understood that if we are all to live in cities, then cities have to become nature as well. We have to allow for nature. If we're going to take over nature, then we have to have nature in cities.
We weren't ready for the parks when they were built during the regeneration, because we're still healing. We're going through a lot of stuff in a community like this. There's a lot of pain, a lot of trauma, and we're learning to see the grace and the important lessons in that pain and trauma. And I think we're getting there. We're maturing. I think Ireland as a whole, if you looked at the last 100 years, we probably grew up 1 year. So we're probably a 10-year-old kid. And Ballymun is probably an 8-year-old kid. You know, we're not far behind. We're getting there. And we want to encourage community.
I think I love like the parks in Ballymun, just because I like going outside a lot. Yeah.
Just the parks, going out with my friends, just find that relaxing.
Yeah. Which parks are there?
Poppintree Park, Santry Park, Coachy Park.
Do you have a favourite?
Poppintree.
Why?
Just it has a nice big place to walk, and there's pitches to play football on.
Well, I'd say Poppintree Park. It's quite good. There's a pond, there's boards and all flying out there, and it's lovely. Like, I think it's brilliant. And that's a good idea, but that's really one-off, really. And there's not much else really happening. There's no wild areas or anything like that. That don't should be. That doesn't, like, I think there should be some sort of wild, like, even if it's only an acre or so, just let go wild. But that doesn't seem to happen. And but hopefully the younger people will do better, make a better job than we done. And I think hopefully, and there is, I think, of hope in young people that they will.
Oh yeah, I walk 7 kilometres every day with my dog in Poppintree Park.
Wow.
It's a beautiful park.
Then we had a muck and magic thing down here, down at near the Discovery Centre. Again, all volunteers, mainly volunteers. Around the area, people, especially in some of the courts used to be dreadful. And one particular area that was, you nearly call it a no-go, was filthy. It's magnificent now. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
Growing up, we'll say, in the countryside, I'm seeing it in an entirely different way. And as I say, you know, bringing that through for me over those decades, it was like a concrete jungle. But then when you start to explore it, there's all these little oases of possibility in green areas that some have been developed. The likes of Poppintree Park, which is very rich and, you know, in terms of animals and plants and, you know, an easy space, a quiet, calm space. And you can see all around Ballymun these other possibilities. And even when we look at some of the maps, you see the spaces that could bring that kind of countryside back into the city and bring life and plants and insects and animals and birds.
I firmly believe I was meant to live in the forest or something, because it's not even the built environment. I know I love architecture, but it's not built environment. But if you're out in the countryside, or if you're here or in a park or anything like that, this whole, like, your spirits are lifted, you know. Something takes away all the nonsense that comes with modern life, you know, the phones and the busyness, and you have to go here and you've got 2 minutes to do this, and so all of that is taken away, because it's where we're supposed to be connected to it, and we're just not. We've been removed too much from it. So
no, I think it opened up you more to nature, because you were out more and you were noticing the birds singing in the mornings, and the first lockdown it was sunny, so you noticed the whole of nature, which was good for everyone. I think so, young and old.
So at an individual level, there's a lot of fulfillment to be had. And I think the bigger picture of, we need to try and look after ourselves and grow our own and use the resources that we have and don't exceed the planetary boundaries.
At the end of the day, we would have my generation, in 4 or 5 generations time, if we're still here, that you can't keep consuming because there's an end to everything, no matter what happens. You just can't keep consuming because it destroys everything. But that's the way it is. And until we learn to do that, and hopefully the younger generation will be.
Yeah, I think young people need to realise that the planet's not going to last forever. And we need to start looking after it. And young people are looking after it, but there is certain things that young people, like fast fashion is a big one, because like Pretty Little Thing and Boohoo, they don't care about the planet, and they don't care about like in 50 years, because the people that own that are 50. And they're going to be dead in 50 years. But the people who are wearing the clothes from Pretty Little Thing and all these places are young people. And I'm guilty of it. Like, I wear fast fashion, but I'm trying not to. So young people, the resilience, and the word of advice would be clue in, because if you wreck this planet, we're not getting another one. Like, this is it. This is it.
Involving yourself in natural environment can be therapeutic, to say the least, and healing. So it can enhance our lives in so many ways.
I suppose the same advice I got when I was young, like to study and educate yourself to the best of your ability, because it really is important. At the end of the day, without education, like you've nothing, like, you know what I mean? And
finding something you like and going and getting what you want to do. So if it's through school, college, apprenticeship, or just learning from someone else, go and do that, and you'll be and I firmly believe, I like work, I love working, and I think when you actually physically do something, or you feel like a better person, because you've earned whatever you've at the end of the day.
Well, they're going to need a sense of themselves, and they're going to need a sense of pride and rootedness. They're going to need a sense of themselves being Irish. I mean, there was a good sense of that up in Ballymun with the Gaelscoil and Chapter Leach, and what else will they need? They'll need resilience very much. I mean, it's a bit scary to look forward and think, because we're in this sort of vacuum and we don't know what'll happen. They'll certainly need inputs into their mental health. But I mean, that's general in Ireland, isn't it? And I think they need to be rooted in nature. I hope so.
It's very important to get involved in community organisations, whether it's sport or things like learning skills. I think that's important, and it helps them to develop their own self-respect if they can succeed in doing something that they enjoy and share with others.
People talk about high achievers or successful people, and I don't know what they mean. Like if you're happy playing chess, or you're happy walking down to the library, then you're as successful as someone who thinks they're successful.
Just tell them you agree. Like, there's nothing better than being told you agree. Like, no matter who tells you agree, you'll feel it. Like, you'll be walking on sunshine if someone beats you up, like.
But enjoy life, that's my biggest thing, and be good to one another. It costs nothing.
Yeah.
Have loads of laughs. That's the best ones you can have.
We used to ask for there to be something here, a theatre, or something. And I remember we all went down to the Helix, us women that were in that forum, it was a women's forum. We went down to the Helix, and we kept saying, why can't we have something up here in Ballymun? So when the Regen come in, we pressed for something, and it came about, and through the partnership as well as the Regen. So it's the best thing.
Okay. But access was the first thing that Ballymuners want when they rebuild Ballymun.
Yeah, okay.
Because it's about culture and expression.
For me, I remember Ballymun as the concrete jungle, because I grew up in a flat. I grew up surrounded by flats, and I remember the place that always stood out for me as this magical, whimsical place was the Axis. Because it's a theatre, full theatre in the middle of this mad concrete jungle. And on your way to the theatre, you could get run over by a scrambler, or you could come into two umpires fighting, or you could help an hour with their shopping. And you just get to this place, and it's just like another world.
With COVID, people have been torn apart for so long. So the times that we get to actually be there for each other and work together now, I think we're appreciating them a lot more. You know, when the theatre is open in the Axis, you know, people are really excited to come in and see a show because they've been deprived of that for so long.
But this is now, I feel, becoming the heart. Because people meet in here, you see the cafe, see the seats, people would meet and they'd all chat. And all kinds of people, and a lot of stuff goes on.
I am really proud of the Axis. I work in Axis, but it's also a place where I feel like I've grown up. I was originally someone who would have taken part in workshops here in Axis. Then I got linked in with them, started working on projects, and eventually became part-time member of staff, full-time member of staff. I love the Axis. I'm really proud of what it does. I'm proud of the arts community that is building in Ballymun, and I think that is because Ballymun is centre to the city, but it's still an affordable place to live, some parts. And also because we have this love for the arts, for poetry, which you can see it's in our history.
Sense of community. There's just like, if you could bottle it up and sell it, you'd make a fortune. You would. You'd be worth it. You'd be a millionaire.
I was born in a tenement room, right? I went down 4 flights of stairs for black. But you see, suddenly we were in this wonderful place with central heating, hot water on tap. You know, it was really brilliant. The only snag was, whoever built the place went and put people into it, you see, and it wasn't really people friendly. We'd no schools, we'd no shops, but we got together. It was the community that actually built Ballymun from 1966.
Going back to 50 years ago, everyone came to this new place with skyscrapers, and you know, everyone really got to know or had to get to know because they would have been stuck.
Sometimes we'd say, God, why don't the young people get out and like do what we did? We did it out of necessity because our Poppentry would have been a newer area, and things, the schools especially, you know, things weren't, there wasn't as much.
When those girls married, they usually stayed on the same street as their mother. There might be 2 houses down, and like it was very integrated, you know, and there was the support from the family and all. And I mean, middle class people don't usually do that, you know.
A community looks after one another and tries to share as much as they can. That's very important, so that people can learn to trust other people.
And I believe in people working together and all that sort of stuff. And that's what I've spent my life aiming for, that people would be in a better place when I leave it anyway. That's the objective. And that you set up structures within the community that are going to give young people and people generally a better life.
I talked about the idea of privacy and walls, and we don't have the privilege of having the money or the wealth to afford ourselves privacy and walls. So we have to wear who we are on our sleeves. That's the beautiful thing, and you might notice that straight away. You might just think it's raw poverty or working classness, but no, we wear ourselves on our sleeves. We give you who we are straight away. There's no veil or facade. This is who you get, and sometimes that can be abrasive. But it's only abrasive from a certain perspective, you know. In Ballymun, that's who we are. That's how we do it.
The community could be a small group of people or a huge big place, but they want to do stuff for it and make it a nicer place and give a good impression of it, you know. So it's like you're proud of your house, or you're proud, you know, your garden or whatever. But you wouldn't be proud of my garden; it's full of weeds. But anyway, so people want to, you know, say, oh, this is where we live, and this is, you know, so they want to make a nicer place for them, their families, and for other people, and for other people looking in.
It's just the sense of belief in people around here is unreal. Like, when Ballymuners know that another Ballymunner is trying something, they will just push and push and push and push and push.
It's certainly been such a supportive place, and I feel like having all these different people be so encouraging has been so helpful, and I know that that is how it continues to be. And then I see, you know, people that are like much younger people than me that are coming up from Ballymun that are getting so much exposure and getting so much help and encouragement is so fantastic. So I feel like there is, yes, different generational, you know, interactions happening within the family, but then also throughout the community itself.
Because we are so aligned with each other and loyal to each other, it's a very open-minded community where once you are a Ballymunner, that is what you are, and other titles fall away. I'm not saying there's no racism here, I can't say that, but I would like to say I think it's a very welcoming, friendly place where people look after each other.
I think the community spirit in Ballymun should never be lost. I'm sure everybody would agree it's probably had its very hard times, but I feel there's a really beautiful community spirit here with everybody, even settled travellers, wherever you're from. I think there's a lovely community spirit here. So don't ever lose that. And I hope in the future that it's even stronger and everybody's more accepting and continue to be so loving to each other.
I want more people to realise that Ballymun is a powerful, powerful place. This is where the decisions need to be made. They need to look at people in Ballymun and go, they're doing it right there, let's replicate this. The people in power don't know how powerful the people here are. And not as in we're powerful, we're the political power, we're the community power.
And for starters, I'd put in a shopping centre.
Shopping centre.
A shopping centre.
Shops and stuff.
So if we had some local fashion retailers, I think would be very good.
As I say, I'd have more parks.
More sports pitches around.
A skate park.
Well, I would somewhere nice to go and
somewhere
eat.
to have something, even if it was a cup of tea.
A little cafe for them. They love that tea.
There's a lack of places to eat. If someone visits you, and maybe you want to go out.
Well, I think all the green spaces are very special, but I don't think they're used to the potential. You know, there's not enough trees. You know, there should be little playgrounds on the green area for children, and especially children with additional needs. There doesn't seem to be any playgrounds in the greenery.
If a city farm came in to Ballymun to kind of show people how to grow their own food.
Bits of rubbish everywhere, so if I could get rid of that, that'd be probably one thing I get rid of.
It's all the litter that you see everywhere, so, and it's awful. I'd love to see more woodlands or forestry or an orchard, maybe a community orchard or something where people, you know, like could go and have fruit, and that bring people in, you know, make them connected to nature a bit more. Yeah, I really would like people to be connected to nature, and I think if they were, they're less likely to litter and, you know, abuse the place.
A lot of the green spaces here are just empty grass, and from a biodiversity perspective, but also as a user, you know, there's very little to see there. It's just grass and nothing else. I think there could be a lot more diversity. There could be playgrounds, there could be a skate park, whatever, you know, like if we are using the creativity that is out there in the community to get the ideas on, well, what would you like to do with those green spaces? I think there'd be much more of an ownership of them. At the moment, it's wasteland that nobody's in love with, and I would love people to be able to be in love with their surroundings.
I would grow and grow and grow trees, and I would bring the community involved, because I think people have very strong connections with trees and with nature, but they're just not allowed to discover that. Or
one great thing we had for years was a local newspaper called Concrete News that was run by Seamus Kelly, and Seamus was brilliant at it. It was a good newspaper that wrote about all the really positive stuff that happens here in Ballymun, and I'd love to see something like that again, that is all about positivity.
A community radio station for Ballymun.
Just more colleges and stuff, because we have a variety of skills. We just don't have as many colleges as close.
No, I would definitely put in a shopping centre and theatres and pubs. And because I have a funny feeling that give us the tools and we'll do it ourselves.